deemed fit appropriate. TRG are not visible.
Am I now?
Uh, yeah, now it's fine. Great. We shall be commencing the conference in exactly 4 minutes from now. Are all the panelists in TRG?
One second, let me just check.
Sure. Just check on the remaining panelists, please.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the final day of Conference 4.2 on failure and resilience in entrepreneurship. We hope you all had a restful evening and are ready for another day of insightful discussions and valuable learning.
Absolutely, sir. It was an incredible journey exploring the topic. So let's continue our discussion and hope everybody enjoys it. Our first speaker of the day is Mr. Olinga Taid. Olinga Taid is a global impact investor and OIR tech pioneer, expert advisor, and council member of Chinese Ministry of Commerce's $103 trillion China e-commerce blockchain committee, founder of CCEG, the world's leading think tank on the movement of value, with 220,000 members. He chairs 15 boards operating in Beijing, New York, London, Hanoi, HCM, Lausanne, Lisbon, and with a virtual business with a presence only in the metaverse. His latest venture is a US $200 million startup, Asili Coffee Estates in Kenya, coffee farms rolling out 10,000 Bean cafes globally starting March 2025.
Next up, we have none other than Dr. Hamid Raza Bahari, who is a principal investigator specializing in advanced photonic materials and an innovation mentor for converging technologies. He is the founder of a private innovation center in Iran dedicated to bringing cutting edge technologies to market. His academic journey includes a PhD in physics, complemented by 4 postdoctoral positions and 2 visiting researcher positions in the UK, Malaysia, Iran, and Turkey. He was awarded the prestigious Marie Curie Fellowship as an experienced researcher at the University of Leeds, UK, and held guest assistant professor and principal investigator positions at University of Technology, Iran, and Bilkent University, Turkey, respectively. His numerous awards include a gold medal in physics Olympiad of Iran, science and innovation medals from Malaysian government, and he is an invited member nominated for full membership of Sigma Xi, the American Chemical Society, the American Physical Society, and the Physics Society of Iran, amongst others. Dr. Bahari is a reviewer for high impact journals, including Advanced Materials, ACS Applied Materials and Interfaces, ACS Journal of Physical Chemistry C, and many more. His research interests encompass non crystalline solids, nanoparticles, nanocomposites, rare earth doped glasses and ceramics, and photonic and laser materials. Current projects of his focus on luminescence, up conversion, lanthanide, doped ceramic nanoparticles for bioimaging and the development of a novel laser-induced nanoglass synthesis method.
Moving on, we also have Mr. Somaditya Mazumdar. Professor Somaditya Mazumdar isn't just an academic, he's a builder. With over 15 years of experience founding and scaling companies from scratch, he understands the challenges and triumphs of entrepreneurship firsthand. Now he's channeling that experience into cutting edge research on sustainable people management, exploring how we can build businesses that prioritize both profit and people.
Next up, We have none other than Professor Natasha Kalra, who is Assistant Professor of English, presently working in Postgraduate Department of English at Government College in Ropar, Punjab. She is a literary enthusiast with some of her works published in multiple magazines and newspapers.
Next up, we have Mr. Jim Zitek. He has been in business since 1968, working in business and marketing strategy for everything from startups to a partner in a large advertising agency. He has also made client presentations throughout his career. He has worked for various companies and clients in a variety of industries, including Honeywell, Xerox, DeWalt, RBC Wealth Management, uh, Medtronic, and Donaldson.
Last but not the least, we welcome Mrs. Tuti Lodda, who is a passionate small business owner, actively managing her own venture while also contributing to her father's business. With a master's degree under her belt, she thrives on continuous learning and innovation. She loves creating new products, especially in the field of crafts, wherein she can blend creativity with practicality. Cooking is both a hobby and a therapy, allowing her to unwind and explore new flavors. Always eager to grow and experiment, Stuti is driven by a curiosity for new ideas and a commitment to excellence in everything she does. We are grateful for all of your presence, panelists, and eagerly anticipate your valuable insights and contributions to today's conference session. I would also like to inform all of you that the HR team will be conducting polls in the chat box throughout the session. We encourage active participation from all attendees and panelists alike. Just before we begin the session, I would like to request all participants to kindly switch on your webcams, including Diksha, Shivanshu, Abdul Mazid, Rima, Tanisha, Pratik, Yashita, Yash, Sania, and others. Kindly open your webcams, and I would also like to notify all the attendees that participants with the webcams off will not be certified post the conference. Okay? So kindly ensure we have a two-way interaction, since we believe that two-way interaction is the only way to understanding each other. Now moving ahead, I would like to request Mr. Olinga Pai to commence his speech.
Thank you very much. Thank you. My name is Alinga, and the only qualification I have to speak here is because I'm very old. All right, I'm 64, and I've got lots of T-shirts and done it all, and lost it all, and done it all again, and etc., etc. So I think your conference is inspired. You know, I must speak about every 2-3 days at CNN or BBC or whatever, but I've never come across a conference that talks about resilience and failure, because all these things are usually we're trying to promote that concept of success, aren't we? It's all success, money, power, top, leading, but failure and resilience, you are going to come across it somewhere in your life. So I thought it would be useful just to share from an old man's perspective some of the key learning lessons I have learned in this. And it doesn't mean I'm right. It's just a view, personal view, and you can discard it. But here you go. So I guess, I start with your age, people's age. If you come to someone like me for investment, my first question will be about your age. If you're over 40, I will most likely move on. Okay? That's not because old people like me have no value. It's true. We have almost no value. But the fact is, I would conclude that if you were succeeding, you would have succeeded by now. Okay? Already. So that's the first thing. So age does make a difference in your approach to these things. I will look at things like your what is it that drives you, your values. And that's very important, For example, I know that a lot of guys here, I forgot I have a PhD. I have a PhD, and I was the first professor in blockchain in the world, and blah blah blah. Means nothing to me now. Okay, because at different parts of your life, you have different value sets. And you wish to, so consider what are your values and where is it you want to go. And the first place to start is, what does winning look like? What does success look like? For some people, it's lots of money. Some people, it's lots of cars and property and, or some legacy. They want to leave a legacy. But focus on that and don't get confused. In the early parts of my life, I at one point I had 9,000 staff, and I wasn't happy. I am 64. I am the happiest I've ever been since the age of 11. So, my values changed. Money was something I found easy, but not making me fulfilled. And so look at your values and what matters to you. When you come to consider the business or venture or academic career or whatever you want to go to, look at how much you want to scale and how sustainable do you want it to be. Do you want to go in pretty fast, vertical growth, and then make it and then bow out? Do you want to go gradually? Do you want it to be a lifestyle? Do you want it? What is it? How long do you want this journey to be? Because that will make a difference also. And it makes a difference in terms of resilience. Because, when stuff happens, when you get side impact from life, it could be anything. Health, your partner, anything, right? It could be anything that happens. You are able to cope with it and say, well, okay, I'm here for 20 years. I'm here for 10 years. And I have to make it in the next 6 months. I got to go like a rocket. And so that changes your attitude to resilience and failure in what you do. When I go for recruitment, I always have gone for 3 things. And they all have to have the same thing all the time, simultaneously. They have to be super clever. They got to work like a dog, okay? And they've got to be trustworthy. And I find 2 out of 3 isn't enough. So in your case, you've got to decide, what is it you're looking for in your partners? What is it you're looking for in your team? Do you value? If you don't value intelligence, you go, I'm the most intelligent person in this team. That's all we need. Good. Okay, but look for what you're looking for, all right? Some people will go, I need real front presence, so I need beautiful people. Obviously they wouldn't be recruiting me in that case, all right? But so just look for your team, to be aligned to what you're trying to do in your life. I mentioned that your partner, whoever partner, man, woman, whatever, animal, dog, whatever. The fact is, your partner will be affected by this. This drive you have, they will be affected. I'm sadly someone who went through many divorces, all right? And so I'm the usual kind of, guy made it and a kind of a row of dead bodies behind me, And so you got to go to yourself, is that what you want? Do you want to have a sustainable family that grows with you? Because there will be casualties and there will be sacrifices. And ask yourself, am I willing to go for those sacrifices? So as I kind of finish off, the things that often luck is the one that you can't bet for. Luck has been for me, and by luck, people go, well, how do you get luck? Well, luck, you look at the economic climate and you go, is this a product or a process or an academic idea I have or that's in favor right now? This matters. I once gave a speech to His Holiness the Pope. That was super lucky. Okay, it just happened and it took off a new area of my life. Or or in business, often people, they're the right time, right place. So, but in resilience, you have to be opportunistic. When it comes, go for it. Go for that gap in the door. And look, 9 out of 10, you'll hit the door. But once, you'll go through. And so the final thing I want to say is that when it comes to your approach, I now, old guy, I have a statistical approach. I try these businesses, 90% fail, a couple of succeed. You go, well, okay, because the successes are big. And you go, it doesn't matter. Other people are severely impacted by failure, okay, in life and in their ideas and their drive. And if they fail, they feel it's the end of their direction in life. Okay, so you can be focused or you can be statistical and go, something will get traction. So that's it. I just thought I'd share with you. It's a privilege to be able to, as an old guy, to share some of my thoughts with young people who are the future of the world right now, and I loved it, and I absolutely love the topic of this conference. I mean, really, I have to say, congratulations. It was inspired. Whoever came up with this topic, inspired. Thank you.
So thanks,
Thank you
Alinda,
so
for
much.
the speech. Yeah, please continue, Ms. Bajpayee.
Yeah, thank you so much for the amazing speech and for sharing the tips. Please share your email address in the chat box. If any of our audience has any questions, they can reach out to you.
Certainly. Thank you very much. I'll do that.
Now I would request Dr. Hamid Reza Bhari to commence his speech.
Hello, everybody. I hope all of you are good. It's a good time that I have with you. Okay. If I want to speak in this conference, and the conference also is very interesting for me, especially the topic that I'm going to speak is about the role of education for inspiring, for the change of mindset, for to have an entrepreneur mindset in the real world. As you may know, my life is dedicated to education. I learned a lot, and from academia, from both academia and from life, and also inside the entrepreneurship. The point is that the thing that I want to speak about the education, the role of education in this mindset, is that when you are drawing your life, when you are drawing your lifetime, you should have a different set of viewpoint about yourself. I myself do it like this. I just see myself and me as a circle, and also an external layer is the environment that I have impact, and the environment impact on me. And the third layer is the environment that's impact on everything, but I cannot do any impact on that. And I should have these three, actually 3+1, and I speak about the one, these three perspective to move on. The first thing in education that normally we should take care of is increasing your potential. This potential is your skills, is our skills about, let's say, our technical skills and also our soft skills, everything. Your potential to move on and go forward. The second layer is the environment. We should always take a look on everything in the environment. When a student take a look on the environment around a student is his or her books, education, research, and everything like that. And the third layer is the university, global economy, and so on. When these students go to a research, this setup differs. When goes after research, when open up a company, this setup also evaluates. So the fourth actually parameter is time. How you see yourself, your environment, and your global environment now in research, after all, This is very important. For example, if you are just going to do a business in your country, in everywhere, I'm in Iran, and you may do it in India or any place, and then you go abroad for continuing your education, this external environment is totally different. And if you want to open a company in another country, everything is different. And resilience in that situation is totally different from your now situation, in what you are doing right now. And this is very important to see yourself in different layers and in different time. The first thing is that, so I want to just give you some comments how we can set, for example, a future, how we can produce ourselves in future, how we can draw a line. For example, for research, we have some trends. We should care about trends. Trends are important, but it's not everything, because the future is not a linear continuous of trends. Some events make changes. Uh, let's see. For example, I'm a glass scientist, glass for photonic application. Uh, Glass has a kind of trends, and you can read books, review papers, many things to see what is the trends. But something happened. This happening make changes. For example, the 2022, I think, was International Year of Glass. This has a real effect on our community. So it is important to know about that. So if a researcher wants to work on, especially science and engineering, we first take a look on trends, and then on some events, important events. What is the new discovery? What is the new Nobel Prize? These kind of things are important. Make change. The future may change then. So in this mindset, I recommend to read review papers for trends and news for events. Also, I think everybody, students, researchers, even professors, should train ourselves to learn about everything, any idea. This idea, I mean, is not just scientific. When you go to, for example, a KFC, when you go to McDonald's or Burger King's, just check why they use red color. When you go to shopping, take a look what is the economic what is the offers they give us, what is the gamification of their works, their business. Take a look at everything. As a scientist should care about everything. It's not only something that in lab. uh, I also advise, if students especially, or researchers, maybe postdoc researchers or others, just pass MBA or DBA courses, or some short courses, maybe use some YouTubes to complete their training. The training in science, in technology, in engineering is not only technical. We should learn something more than this. So just I advise to learn something from business management, and business administration. The other point is that do not think that it is only theories that it is helpful for us. Go to technology parks, see some people from entrepreneurs, go to networking meetings, these kind of things, to see people, to learn about them just right away, and do something for yourself, some small business even. I remember myself about 30 years ago when I was a student, 25 or 30 years ago when I was a student, I just working on video editing. I made video for television, for advertisement. That was very, very important for me and very useful. Do something like that, even a small thing, even a part-time work. This is a workshop for you. And I think is and something you should do is for yourself internally, as for example, learning about leadership capacity, and it is internal and in the second layer as well, both of them, because it's a connection between these two. And the only thing that I can just for the end of the speak I can just advise is to think and think and think and work and work and work non-stop. You should be non-stop. I did it, and I advise everybody to. Okay.
That was a great speech, Hamid. I had a small
Thank you very
question
much.
for you. Since you have a lot of experience with scientific innovations and getting patents, what do you suggest is the easiest way for students to find out if their technology that they have developed is actually innovative in nature and has already not been developed in any other part of the world?
Your speaking was not very clear for me, but just what I get about that. First thing in the innovation, it is something technical. The question you answering is important. Fundamental question or applied question. These are two different things. For example, when if human beings discover fire, ask what is fire and what is used for. Your application, the application comes from the good question. What is it used for? And draw a line for that application, and step by step increase the TRL, technology readiness level, based on the what is it, what is in the future, what you see in the future. You're making a future actually. This is what the scientists do, what the applied scientists do actually.
Okay, that's great. That's great. I would like to request the audience to put forth their questions, if any. Any questions, anyone? You must simply raise your hands. Somna, Shivanshu. Yeah, Yash. You have any questions, Yash? No questions? Okay. I guess your speech was very clear. Hamid, I would like to request you to share your email ID in the chat box. But if any of our audience have
Okay,
any
sure.
queries, they can directly reach out to you. Thank you for
Thank you
your
very much
visit.
for your very good conference. That's great.
Sure.
Nice to meet you.
Now, moving ahead, we would like to invite Mr. Somaditya Mazumdar to commence his speech and share his insights with all of us. Is Mr. Majumdar in the meeting, Ms. Bajpai?
No, he's not in yet.
Okay. I guess then we'll move with the next speaker. Now, I'd like
Yeah.
to invite Ms. Natasha Kalra to commence her speech and share her insights with all of us. Welcome, Ms. Kalra.
Hi. Thanks a lot. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. Thank you. I would really like to share my screen. Can I?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Sure.
All right. Just a second. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am, your screen is visible.
All right, all right. Thank you. Thanks a lot. First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity to be able to speak over here. So, by the compulsive nature of being a teacher, I would start with the quote of Winston Churchill, who has rightly said that success is not final, failure is not fatal, it is the courage to continue that counts. So, respected ministries, fellow speakers, and dear audience, it is an honor, first of all, to be here to discuss a topic which is at the heart of, I suppose, every entrepreneur's and his or her journey, that is failure and resilience. So, we'll begin with the meaning of failure. What do we understand by failure? As per Cambridge Dictionary, failure means no success or the absence of success. So it is just like that you understand the value of light, or when there is darkness all over. So it is exactly like the same with failure. Failure is very important in life, and as a teacher I can really understand that, uh, that if you do not fail at something, you are not going to learn a lesson. So one failure is one lesson learned. So next we have resilience. So when I say resilience, resilience means the ability to be happy and successful again after something bad or terrible has happened to you. Moving on to the definition of the term entrepreneurship. So the dictionary meaning of entrepreneurship, it states the skill in starting businesses, especially when this involves seeing new opportunities. Uh, This is a quote by J.K. Rowling, as she's once said that it is impossible to live without failing at something unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all. So the path to success, it is rarely a straight line, and because it is often a winding road of trials and errors, and it is always a hit and try method. We all know life is never a smooth journey, it is never a bed of roses. So it is the same for entrepreneurship, and it is the same for every other thing in your life, whether it is your job, it is your family, anything. So entrepreneurship, it is a journey which is filled with uncertainty. We have seen many new budding entrepreneurs. Failures are inevitable in entrepreneurship, but resilience, it is the resilience which determines success. Learning from failures, it helps to build strong business. So we are going to discuss a story today because being a literature student and a teacher as well, I like to explore stories. So we'll learn the story of resilience. We have all heard of the name KFC, and we have all known the story of Colonel Sanders, who is the founder of KFC. He had, found this whole business at a very old age. He was not young, and he had suffered multiple failures before finding KFC. He was rejected more than 1,000 times before success had hit him. So, as a very famous literature author, Thomas Edison, he rightly said that ever try, no matter, try again, and fail better. So I suppose that is what exactly goes with the story of Colonel Sanders and KFC. So one key factor in the success, and especially in entrepreneurial success, is resilience. Resilient entrepreneurs, they don't fear failure, they learn from it. Thomas, we've all heard the name of Thomas Edison. His approach was that I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work. So the key lesson is to adapt and to keep trying. So these are the case studies of resilient entrepreneurs. We have all heard of their names, and we know that they have good success stories, but we also should learn that they also have failure stories. They also have resilient stories to tell. So these are the lessons I suppose that as and entrepreneurs we all should learn. For me, entrepreneurship, it is not just about business. It is about trying anything new, whether it is in my teaching methodology, whether it is in my home, whether it is anywhere. So we should learn to embrace failures because every setback it is a learning opportunity. We should develop a growth mindset, and we should often view challenges as opportunities. We should stay persistent because success comes to those who don't give up. And also, we should build a strong network, and we should surround ourselves with the right people. And I would like to conclude by saying that entrepreneurship is about building character, and with character, obviously, there comes resilience. So resilience is something which cannot be seen in everybody. You have to develop that skill, and it is entrepreneurship. It is not just about businesses. It is about building characters, and resilience. It transforms failure into success. So, as a very famous poetess and writer, she has rightly said, Maya Angelou, she said, I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. So, you should not be reduced by the failures that you get in your life, but you can be changed, and that change should be a positive change, I suppose. So, yeah, there you go. And here I end my speech. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ms. Natasha Kala, for being with us today. And it was such a wonderful speech, honestly. Please share your email address in the chat box. If any of the
Sure,
audience
sure.
has any questions, they can reach out to you.
Sure. Thank you.
Next, I would request Mr. Jim Zitek to commence his speech.
All right. Thank you for inviting me. And can you hear me?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. All right. I heard the first thing I heard today was 64 was old, and I dispute that. I'm 84, and I think 64 is pretty damn young. And I've been working in business since I graduated from college in 68. So I've been a long time. I've worked in many different kinds of companies, advertising for about 30 years, including owning a pretty good sized advertising agency. And then I decided that I wanted to get into the stock business. And so I became a broker and helped companies raise money and talk to entrepreneurs all the time about their businesses. And about 6 months ago, I decided I wanted to do something different. And so I've now become a consultant to help people really learn how to do entrepreneurship, how to get ahead, what to do. And so I welcome this opportunity. I do have probably an hour and a half's worth of material, so I'm going to cut it down to a very small amount. So what I really want to do is say then, I want to say the title would be like, how do you stand out in a crowded market? Okay. Unfortunately, about 80% of entrepreneurs fail within 5 years. 80% are gone within 5 years. And that's a lot, but there's a lot to learn in order to be successful to do that. And so what I think success is, after all the years I've been doing it, it is having a competitive advantage. You need a competitive advantage over your competition in order to be successful long term. And the failure is just an opportunity to learn. I mean, I've been at this long enough that I've failed hundreds of times, I suppose, and you just keep learning. It's just an opportunity to learn. So I wanted to talk about three things. And basically, one is, how important is a competitive advantage, really? And what are the ingredients of a competitive advantage? And finally, creativity, because creativity is how you actually get to that point. And so I want to do that. And I'm going to try to see if I can do it really quickly here. But the first thing you have to look for is the battlefield. All right? What's the battlefield? What's the market? And you really want to look at all the things, the market, the opportunity, the competition, all of the things you do. But I want you to look at it differently. Rather than just write it down, like I'm doing research and I'm making notes, what you really want to do is just ask questions, okay? For example, if you're looking at your market, what in your market would make some customer change brands from what he's doing to you? How would you do that? How would you ask questions all through every single thing you want to do? Who's your competition? Why are they your competition? Do they have any gaps in their business that you can exploit? Don't they? What are your gaps? What about your internal capability? Do you have the money? Do you have the time to do what you want to do? So the research is not just research like in school. Research is asking questions. That's number one. And I won't go through all of them. But that, I think, is how you approach that, trying to get that information. And then the next thing is strategy. You need a strategy. I don't care who you are or what you do, you must have a strategy. So I've written down here about 10 strategies, and I'm going to do them very quickly, but to give you an idea, all right? And the strategy, like the first one is cost leadership, okay? And then who does that, okay? Walmart, if you know Walmart, they have a cost leadership. The next one is differentiation. Who has differentiation? That's another strategy. Apple has differentiation. How about personal experience with the clients? Amazon has that. That's their strategy. Customer intimacy. What's that strategy? Salesforce.com. Customer intimacy. They got the whole program to put together to help you one by one. Okay. And then product expert. That might be your strategy, to be the product expert. Who is that? Google. Google has it all right there. Platform, and that's another strategy. I need a platform to do it. Who's got that strategy? Salesforce.com. Okay. Data analysis. How about data analysis as your strategy? Who's got that? Uber. I don't know if you're familiar with Uber or not. The car taxi company. They can calculate the cost of your ride, the time, the frame, everything, in seconds. Okay, you make the call, and they'll give you an answer. So they've got it all down into the data. And then superior brand. Okay, and maybe your strategy is going to be your brand. Nike is a brand, and that's what you've got to go for. And then I'm going to talk about vertical integration. I think vertical integration is a good strategy. And again, Apple is the example there. They're making some chips of their own in order to do graphics better than anybody else. So that's that. All right, let's talk about benefits a little bit. You're going to have to give me a high sign when I'm running out of time. The benefits of a competitive advantage. First of all, you're going to increase your share, your market share. You're going to increase your sales. You're going to increase your profits. All of those things are going to happen. You're going to increase your profit margins as well. And the next thing is loyalty. That's you're going to give a loyal following, like Apple. People stand in line to buy a new Apple when they could, get it cheaper quicker by not standing in line. So that loyalty is really. The other thing is it's not just getting ahead, it is also threats. A competitive advantage gives you the ability to kind of take care of make your competition much more difficult. And brand recognition, of course, is one. And there's some more, but that's enough. I want to move on then to the creativity, if I can. creativity is how you get this. All right. And there are two basic kinds of creativity. One is vertical creativity, vertical thinking, and that's one step by step by step by step. You do this, you find, you learn, you go to the next step, you do this, find and learn. And so that's one kind of strategy. And creativity is not learned in school. Nobody teaches creativity in school. You're going to have to get that on your own. You're going to have to do that on your own. And management, too. Management doesn't use creativity much. They're kind of frightened of it. They don't have time to do it. They also are hesitant to take a stab at some kind of strategy and fail because maybe their career is over if they do that. So, creativity is really important to do. And when you look at, I'll give you an example of a vertical creativity, which would be what's called SWOT, SWOT, the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities and the threats, put them together, ask those questions, find out some. So there's a lot. One that you can do very easily, 5 whys. I don't know, why are we doing this? You get the answer, ask why again, ask it 5 times. When you get to the 5th time, you'll be in good shape, all right? So I think that's important. And then the other one I want to talk about just for a second to open your mind to, and that is lateral thinking. I don't know if anybody's familiar with lateral thinking or not, or how many are, but lateral thinking is taking and disrupting your whole thinking process, all right? You got a left brain and a right brain, and they talk to each other, and the more information they get, the longer that thread gets, that pipe gets thicker and thicker. And so when you want to break through that, it's tough. So lateral thinking is breaking through that. If you're going from A to B, what you do is introduce C. And when you introduce C, you screw everything up. So you have to really think about it. It opens your mind up to a lot of different things. And so an example of lateral thinking would be random word. All right, a random word is one of many creative techniques. And random word would be something like you take let's say you want to start a new restaurant. All right, so you go to the book and you just put your finger on some word. You don't care what word it is. You take that word, introduce it into the analysis. So I picked a word here. Table, all right, a restaurant, and I picked the word table. Now what? Now I've got to take that and try to work it into the restaurant. So I'm going to come up with the idea like, well, what if I charged by the time you spent at the table rather than the food? Because some people are there 20 minutes, some people are there 3 hours. And so what if you did that, all right? What if you had the table in another room with a babysitter so parents could come in and put the kid in the other room? They could enjoy their meal. The kids could get taken care of. Okay. A third one might be just the time that it takes to do it. Every Wednesday night, you have a gourmet dinner. Only on Wednesday nights, it's expensive. They come in and choose what they want for that dinner. The point is, you're just looking for ways to create new ideas that you can use, and then you can take those ideas and work on them, okay, and spread them out. So that would be, that's that. And I could only come back to, I think of all those things, you really need creative thinking in order to put them all together. It's really important, and it's not taught anywhere. You can teach yourself, but it's not taught in school. But at the same time, you need those 3 things in the very beginning. You need a strategy. Do you want to be the cost leader, or do you want to be the something else? The second thing you need is a competitive advantage. And the competitive advantage, if you know Warren Buffett, that's a name that's familiar. He's one of the top investment people in America. He's been doing it for many years, probably one of the most successful. When he looks at a new stock, the first thing he looks for, competitive advantage. If the company doesn't have a competitive advantage, he's not interested, because a competitive advantage gives him time to build a big business. And it also gives him more profitability, more margin. So competitive advantage is really important. And then the third thing is that creativity. All right. Just using creativity to blow your mind and come up with. And it's pretty short and pretty thin, but that's the whole idea. I think if entrepreneurships, if you worked at, trying to create a competitive advantage rather than being competitive. That's why so many fail, I think, is because they're trying to be competitive. But being competitive is only the bottom line. That's all it is, the bottom line. You've got to go from there if you want to last long term. So I'll stop. I don't know where my minutes are, but I will stop there, and just the whole idea, question, strategy, creativity, and you'll get there. And failure, I should say one more thing. I think failure is important because failure gives you a chance to learn. It's just an opportunity to learn. And almost everybody in this business certainly fails and learns and learns and learns. And that's how you get there. So, all right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jim. It was a really wonderful speech. Although I have a question, you talk about the difference between finding a creative competitive gap versus being competitive. So could you elaborate a little more on that, as in what is the difference between being competitive and finding a creative competitive gap?
Okay.
Advantage.
Well, sure. Being competitive means that you're always, you're trying to fight with your competitors to stay alive. They come up with a little something, then you've got to come up with a little something, and they do this, you do that. And so you're just constantly going across this line that's just going forever. Okay. Versus trying to get a competitive advantage. And a good example that I could give you real quick is when SUVs came out, Toyota came, everybody had an SUV, came out with an SUV, and they all had 3 seats in them. The front seat for the drivers were in the middle and in the back. Toyota came out with a competitive advantage. The third seat folded down so that the back part could be used to transport things, to put a child's playpen in there, if that were what you wanted, but it fit the lifestyle, because that's what you're trying to do, fit the lifestyle of that person. So that competitive advantage, they sold for 5 years. They sold most of the RVs for 5 years. I mean, and so competitive advantage may not last forever. You still have to keep working on it, because 5 years later it came back. But you can see what advantage a competitive advantage really gives you. And a competitive advantage could be a patent that you have that nobody can get. I mean, that would be a competitive advantage too. But you can create products that people will be perfectly fit. Another example would be Procter and Gamble. They were competitive with laundry detergents, laundry detergents. And so they were fighting with their competitors. So they finally sent somebody out to talk to people and say, how do you know that your clothes are clean? Everybody talks about clean clothes. And they found out that a lot of women, when they take it out of the machine, they smell it. And they smell it and say, oh God, it smells clean. So they changed their strategy and said they had a soap that smelled clean, and you knew it was clean because it smelled clean. They took over a huge section of the market because you're going with what the competitor, what the customer wants. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question? Or
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Although I have another question. So you say that, creativity is not taught in school. So how do you suggest that people harness creativity, or where do you think then it comes from?
It's how can I say this? The only people, well, no, I'm going to do it another way. You just have to learn it because it's not taught in school. And because 80% of people believe they're not competitive, they're not creative. That's artwork, that's music. They're not creative. They can't do creative. So they don't even pretend to do it. You know who's really creative? Comedians. How do comedians come up with those, wild things that they come up with? And it's creativity, and it's lateral creativity, like not step by step, but lateral. For example, a good example would be, Bob was a very old man and he dies, and all of a sudden he wakes up and he sees his friend Jim sitting there in this room, and he's got a 30-year-old beautiful woman on his lap, and he hollers at him, "Jim, are we in heaven or are we in hell?" And he says, "Bob, we're in hell. I'm her punishment." Okay, does that make sense? Okay. That's what we're talking about. You break that pattern and something else, And does that explain that?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
It was a really wonderful speech. I would request if anybody from the audience has any questions, please go ahead.
Yes, I have a question. That I wanted to ask that how can a founder keep on trying when investors abandon their company?
How can a founder keep on trying? You mean over and over
When
again?
investors abandon their company.
Well, if I understand the question is they fail and then do they give up or keep trying? And if they want to keep trying, what do they do? Is that the question?
Yes.
That's the question. Okay. What they do is use that for why did I fail? What did I do? What did I do with the market? How come how come someone didn't buy it or did buy it? Or how come they didn't use it or keep it? So you just got to start asking questions in that first part, just question after question after question. Why did you do it? But you have to keep going. Everybody is going to fail, several. If you don't fail, you probably won't make it. You're either gifted and you don't need it, or you won't make it, one of the two. So you have to keep trying. That's the only way. And that's how I learned. I did advertising for many, many years and put out an ad and didn't work. You learn. It didn't work. Here's why it didn't work. All right. So let's change this. Let's change that. Change this. And you'll eventually get there. Does that make sense? I mean, there's no magic. It's just making sure you want to do it. Okay. Did I answer your question?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. All right. Any others?
I think we have
Hello, Mr. James. I'm Parth.
Pardon me?
So, as you mentioned about having a creative side in yourself, so as a manager of a company or as a CEO or as any higher post of in company, how can you help your employees getting their creative side come out and help in your project?
How to help employees?
Yeah,
Is that the answer?
how can we
How do you-
help them?
How can you help them? What you do is, and it's a good question, very good question, because one of the reasons when your company tried something and they fail, one of the main reasons, 40% of the time, it's because not everybody agrees with the strategy or how to execute that strategy in the company. So one way to get over that is to have a meeting with all your employees, or the group or the heads of them. And you just start out by saying, okay, the first thing we're going to talk about is what is our objective here? Where are we going? The next thing we're going to talk about, and you got 5 minutes. And that's all you can have is 5 minutes. The next 5 minutes, you talk about ideas. Okay, well, how can we solve this? You got 5 minutes to come up with some ideas. Okay, after the ideas, the next 5 minutes, you say, what's wrong with those ideas? How come they didn't what's wrong with them. Okay. And then the next time you come up and you come back and you say, okay, what if we did this instead? What if we did that instead? And you go through that again. And finally, at the very end, you got 5 minutes and you say, okay, here's what we're going to do. What you do is you get everybody aboard. And if you don't get them all aboard at that time, okay, then you just stop the meeting and have another one next week, and do it all over again. But what you end up with, if you go through that process, what you end up with is everybody executing the idea. And that's how you become successful, okay? Because everybody's got to do their part. And a lot of times people won't do their part because they don't agree with it. So you get the group together and do it as a group. Make sense? Okay.
Yeah, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sure. If we have no other queries from the audience, we can move further, I guess. Any more queries? None?
All right.
Okay. Thank you for your amazing speech, Jack, Jim. It was
Thank you.
actually a great honor learning from you. I would like to request you to just share your email address in the chat box for any questions that our audience may still have so that they can connect with you personally from that.
Sure. No problem. Happy to.
Now, moving ahead, we would like to invite Ms. Tuti Lotta to commence her speech and share her insights with all of us. Yes, Tuti ji, am I audible? Yes, Tuti, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Sure, sure. If you can just switch on your webcam, it would be a pleasure.
Yeah, just a second. Okay, hello everyone. So thank you for giving me this opportunity so I can be a speaker over here. And like honestly telling, so I've thought about this. I should go on and speak or not because obviously this needs a lot of confidence to speak over here. So yeah. So my topic is failure and resilience in entrepreneurship. I call myself a small business owner because it's not like my business is not at a huge thing, but it's like that I wanted to call it a small because the mm, growth I want, the growth I wanted before starting this business, till that growth I haven't reached yet. And my focus is that. So whatever before that, whatever it is a small step for me. So that's why I called to everyone. My statement is I'm just a small business entrepreneur and I have my own small startup which is going on. Now talking about failures and everything. So like we all know the meaning of entrepreneurship, we all know the meaning of failure, and like what failure we face is like it's financial, it's maybe like your business is not growing, maybe you don't have any background support, don't have any push. So there can be many failures if we look up for failures. But it's all that key. For example, if you listen to any broadcast, like people say that be motivated, listen to broadcasts, listen to motivational speakers. It's easy to listen them, and for a moment you get motivated also. But it says now that when you don't wear a shoes which you are wearing it, you can't like relate what is the problem, what is the difficulties. So just be in that situation, and then you will know that what is the real meaning of failure. I still at this point also, there are many times I face a failure. It's maybe like um financial, it's maybe like customers, like sometimes it's have that I don't get orders. So there is also, that is also kind of failure. So if you're an entrepreneur, be ready for the failure. And like, don't get just demotivated by only one or two failures, because if you have planned for something, you have to work hard for that. Whatever broadcast you're listening, whatever speakers you're listening, whoever the person you have been idolized, they all have faced the problems. After facing those problems, they have become your ideal person. So try to become an ideal person yourself for someone else also. So keep that in mind, ki I want to become my ideal person for someone else. That will keep you motivated of yourself. So I just want to say this ki, like, there are many failures we face, there are many motivations we hear also the business, like many things we hear, many things we go through. It's all that at the end of the comes that ki how motivated, how dedicated, and how focused you are for your ambition. Like, there I have met peoples who belongs to a business family. Okay, and after belonging to a business family, they think that I belong to a business family, so I need to do a business, I can't just do a 9 to 5 job. And they don't want to join their father's business, but they want to do a business, they want to start a startup or do something of their own, but they don't have ideas. So there are people who are motivated for startups just because they are seeing other people's key entrepreneurship, a businessman or a business have so much money. So if you're running behind money, that is not like your focus. Your focus is in something else. If you're running behind your dream that I want to see my business over there, that is your focus. Money is important. Like, I myself also, before starting my startup, I have done many internships, many 9 to 5 jobs, many part time internships, many things, just to have small incomes so then I can generate my own startup. That day, I thought, okay, this much money would be enough to start my own business. That was the day I started it. I made a website, I made an online Instagram page. All the from like step one, we go for a business, all that I started. And now also, there are now also not only my startup, I also do a part-time internship with an Lotus Media company of like related to marketing and video editing only, so that my focus won't disturb because of that, because I choose an internship which will help me in my own business also. So it's all that, if you want to start, get yourself on that much that you can start. And for that, if you have to do a 9 to 5 job for few months, I guess that's not a big issue, you can do that. So that's what I have done. And now also some, I do an internships and also do see my startup. So it's on you that if you want, you can do both, you can handle both. And if you don't, you can't handle a startup also. So this is all I want to say, that. And coming to the meaning, the steps and everything, what are the failures, types of failures, I guess everyone of us are aware of these things, ki what are these failures we faces and what are the steps we can take. Okay, like these AI tools and everything is there on internet, and we get each and every information from that. So any questions, any like you have any doubts, here are so many speakers, you can go ask and ask to them. You have mail IDs, you can ask to those mail IDs. Anywhere you stop, just go ask and come back and focus again, because the time you stop, the time your business failed, the time you fail, the time you grow, there is a success waiting for you. That's what I have learned.
That was a great speech, Stuti ji. Although I have some questions for you. The first
Okay.
one being that since you said that you started from a small scale, so like which fundraising source did you use to raise funds? Did you use a business loan or a specific angel investor?
Okay, in that I haven't like used any fundraising source, because whatever the fund I raised for my business was of my own savings, that was from internships I do. And other than that, I also into a stock market, so the profit I cover up from there, I still use it in here. So that is the process I use.
So it's
And
completely bootstrapped.
yeah.
Okay, that's great. That's great actually. So that's unique. I've been hearing to it the first time. So that's really great. Now, going on, I have a second question. Since you said you started small scale, and there are multiple small scale ideas that you could actually share with our audience here. So, do you have any in mind that you would like to? For example, you could maybe brief on one or two or three of them and how to start them, how much capital is required for them, and the details.
Okay. Actually, coming to that question, I have not much idea about that capitals of other small startups, because the my main motive to start this was I was very much into creativity, very much into like art and all those things. So from like childhood only, I was like very focused that if I want to see myself, I want to grow my career, I want to grow it something where my passion takes me. So I was focused on this only. After my masters and everything, I just decided just start the business. Then I got into checking the capitals and checking out the other things I needed for my business to grow it. And that's where the point, when I got the knowledge myself about all the capitals and everything I required for my business. So and that time also I just focused about mine, because I was decided what I want to do. So it's that. So sorry for that, but I don't have much idea about other startups.
No issues.
But
I guess
coming
Miss
about
Ishika Saraiwala has a question.
yeah.
Ishika ji,
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, can you explain how should we, but like if how what measures should we take if we don't have capital or a proper guidance on what kind of a business, whatever business we want to do?
Okay. Like if you want to do a business, but you are not coming to a conclusion what business you can do, you can search for some
No,
like
like
small
the
startup.
proper roadmap on how to go about it. Like
Okay,
I'm
how to go
asking,
about that? In coming to
yeah.
that, you can um, uh, search on AI tools, any of the AI tools, Chat GTP, Jimmy, that such they will suggest you some small startups. Okay, coming to that startups, pick a startup which you think you want and you will get interested. Like okay, coming to a startup that you want to do something in fashion, or you want to something do in interior, just because you have knowledge about it, just because you have the ideas and everything, or you want to do something in creativity, or you want to do something in cooking area, or something like that, architect area, anything. So there are many startups. Go on Google's AI tools, search about the startups, they will suggest you many startups. Pick one which you think that okay, this is interesting, and your interest will be maintained in that startup. Don't pick like okay, this is interesting, I can do this, let's try. Startup is not for trying. It's like your what I can say, it's like junoon kind of, that no, this gives me the energy to work. This I love this, and that work you love, that will give you energy to work. So choose that. And after that, about the capitals and whatever the question you ask, that from where to generate the capitals and where, if you're working on some 9 to 5 job, you must be having some savings. If not, you can take a business loan from bank, or uh, like I use stock market for that. So if you are have any knowledge about stock market, you can also go for stock market.
Thank you, ma'am.
We have a question from Somna Pratika, I guess. Somna ji, please.
Yes. Hi, Stuti. So I
Hi.
have a question that has your organization ever faced a significant challenge that felt like a failure at that time, and how did you navigate that?
Uh, yes, there were many times that we faced a challenge, and that was so much that we, like, some there were times that we also failed, and there were also times that we like had came up on it. Like, coming to that, for example, I have a YouTube channel. Okay, so um like, I don't get so much of time that I would post like every day. I post once in a week. So there are some videos on YouTube which uh, don't get views. Like, they have you can say 2 to 4 views. That time, the YouTube, what the numbers of hours they count to give you that a proper subscription, that drops down. If any one of you have YouTube channel, you must guys know ki when the YouTube views of any of your videos don't get a reach, the total number of hours the YouTube counts, that drop downs. So it many times happens that our numbers get dropped down. So it's very hard to again grow that number to that limit which it was further. So that time we think like, just stop it. We can't do this because every time it gets down, every time we have to get it up. So it's take that much effort and that much of, like, focus you need, that energy at that time you need ki if it is getting down, okay, just post another videos. Let see what is the problems, why not people are reviewing it, where the problem is coming, what content we are missing, and then we like idealized everything, we write everything, we make a note, we make a script. After that, we again post a video, and that takes the reach. So it's not that we don't face failures. I already said ki if you have a startup, till the end you will face the failure, because it's not 9 to 5 job na, that if you don't work, I will do that tomorrow. It's not like that. It's have to be done today, it's have to be done today. Otherwise tomorrow you are going to face a failure. So it's like that.
That was a great speech, Tuti. I hope the audience doesn't have any more questions. Any other questions from the audience? You may please raise your hands. None, I guess. That's it. Thank you, Sputiji. Please do share
Thank
your
you.
email ID in the chat box for any
Thank you.
queries that the audience
Thank
might.
Yes,
Sure.
sure.
So thank you everyone for joining us for conference 4.2 session 3, and we hope that everybody gained some knowledge from this conference. We hope that these 3 sessions served you and would help you become successful young entrepreneurs. Looking ahead, we are excited to announce that our upcoming conference will be held in March from 15th to 17th again. The topic of which would be on role of solopreneurship, wherein we will be meeting 16 top 10 solopreneurs from India and abroad. We hope to see you all there and engage in insightful discussions. Thank you again, and we look forward to reconnecting with you at our upcoming conference in March. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all our social media handles to stay connected with us and to watch the recordings of this conference. Till our upcoming conference, stay inspired, keep dreaming, and keep striving for excellence. Best of luck, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.